In this presentation, I'm going to give you some basic information about networking, including job shadowing, informational interviews, professional associations, and crafting an elevator pitch. All right, have you heard the old saying, it's not what you know, it's who you know? That's as true as ever, despite technology, or maybe because of it. Developing and continuously expanding your professional network is crucial to your career success. Here's a couple really quick, easy ways to do that. You can tap into DePaul's Ask network. Ask stands for Alumni Sharing Knowledge, and it's an online platform where alumni make themselves available for career advice and insights. You can search for and connect with alumni and set up times to meet with them for conversations. You can also join discussion forums and participate in group chats. We'll get into more detail shortly, but you can also schedule informational interviews through the Ask network or outside of the Ask network. We'll go through that in the next couple of slides. Make sure you also set up a LinkedIn account. We have a handout about LinkedIn basics that you can check out, but it is the premier professional networking site with nearly 600 million members and counting, including over 130,000 DePaul alumni. It's a perfect place to get your brand message out there and to connect with others, peers, and folks well into their career. You'll also want to keep an eye out for professional associations. And again, I'll go into a little more detail later about what those look like. But they're a great space for networking and sharing knowledge and advancing your career goals. Make sure you're taking advantage of social media as a space as well, not just LinkedIn. Increasingly, Instagram, Twitter, these are places that employers and peers are posting and connecting people together. All right, so for some people, the word networking is terrifying. It sounds like the idea of cold calling and asking for help. Don't worry. Successful networking doesn't mean you have to be an extrovert. In fact, you really should be yourself. You will want to be authentic, but we will ask that you move out of your comfort zone and get out there in baby steps to build confidence and comfort in those environments. All right, so let's start with informational interviews. Informational interviews are low pressure, and they're basically reaching out to a professional, sometimes mid-career, sometimes advanced career, sometimes early career, and asking for a little bit of their time just to hear about their experience. They are increasingly common across a lot of different industries, and they can take place via phone or email, but it's even better when it happens in person. So here's a couple steps. Step one, start to identify the people you'd want to meet and chat with. These might be people who have your dream job. These might be people who work at your dream employer. These might be people who have a major that you have, but ended up in a different career. There's a lot of different reasons to talk to someone. I really think that the mid-level and advanced professionals are great targets, but so are peers, or even recent graduates, or even folks who are currently interning where you'd like to intern. You can search for these folks on DePaul's Alumni Sharing Knowledge page. You can also find them on LinkedIn. I would definitely consider targeting alumni. DePaul's alumni are so mission-oriented that they love connecting students to opportunities and helping them in their career journey. DePaul faculty can also connect you to folks that would be really useful to informational interview, particularly if they're also working out in the world and doing work in the industry. Don't be afraid to be bold. If there's a well-known person in your field of interest, reach out to them. You have nothing to lose and much to gain. And the worst that's going to happen to you is folks will either say no or you won't get a reply. Step two, after you've identified a list of targets, you'll want to send a brief message via email or the Ask platform asking for an informational interview. Be very concise and friendly. Make sure your request is reasonable and acknowledge their busy schedule. Ask for an hour at most, or 30 minutes, or even 15 minutes, and offer to meet at their convenience, including outside business hours, near their office, etc. Tap into your existing network by asking a mutual contact to send an email of introduction first, if you have one, where appropriate. Call or email of introduction from a mutual contact like a DePaul professor can increase your chances of scheduling it. Be appropriately persistent. Don't expect a return call or email, especially from the first contact. If you haven't gotten a reply after a week, it's not inappropriate to send a follow-up note. Remember, they're busy. I also typically recommend that you make it easy for them to answer your email by saying something like, I'm free every Friday after noon, or every Tuesday morning is totally open for me. It's a lot easier to hit reply if I know that I might be able to fit it into my schedule. So here's an example of how a request might be worded. My name is Lisa Stone, and I'm a junior at DePaul. I'm considering pursuing a career in journalism, and I'm writing to find out if you might be available to meet with me briefly for an informational interview. I'd love to hear about your career path and experience and get any insights you can provide in the field. I understand if you're too busy, but please let me know if you have any time to meet in the next several weeks. Thanks so much for your time. That's as complicated as it needs to be. If you don't get a reply back, that is not a huge cost to you. All right, step 3, be prepared. After scheduling a time to meet, jot down a couple of questions so that you're ready. People like to talk about themselves, so this should be fun for both of you. Here are some questions you might consider. What attracted you to this kind of work? What are the most challenging and most rewarding aspects of your current role? What skills, qualities, and experiences does your employer seek in new hires? What trends are you seeing currently in your profession? Given what we have talked about today, are there other people you'd recommend I connect with? Step 4, follow up with thanks. A working professional has taken the time to meet with you for an informational interview has done you a wonderful favor. Be sure to follow up with a heartfelt thanks in an email or a handwritten personal note. All right, let's talk about job shadowing. Job shadowing is different from an internship in that rather than a formal experience where you're working in an office or you have a specific project, a job shadow can just be a tiny, minute experience of an environment or professional space. It can be as short as a half a day to as long as a week or two. Typically, you're there to observe. And there's 2 types of job shadowing. There's formal job shadowing, meaning there's a job shadow program, and DePaul has a spring break and winter break job shadow program, which is a one-day learning opportunity for undergraduate students that you apply to. But you can also pursue job shadowing opportunities informally by tapping into your network, including friends, families, and other contacts and alumni. But what you'd be asking them for is to observe their work and just get a sense of the skills in the space that you are interested in. All right, so some of the benefits of shadowing, you get to really explore a wide variety of career spaces. Shadowing someone in a specific role gives you an idea of what the other roles might be that you might be interested in. You also get experience a day-to-day of a specific job through observation. You might even cultivate some skills if you're given any work to do. Also really expand your network. The person who you're shadowing or the people you're shadowing are now part of your network and it's helping you connect to other professionals. So how to get started? Connect with your existing network to get the contact information or referrals for people who work in your field of interest. Also, you can log into DePaul's Alumni Sharing Knowledge platform and look for the job shadowing label and how can I help. Every single person in that is actually making themselves available for job shadow, and you can send a message directly from their profile. You could also search for DePaul alumni on LinkedIn and try and determine their email address based on their employer's email protocol. And we have a sample email request that you can use as a template for your job shadow request. Essentially, you'll introduce yourself. This is my name. I'm a student at DePaul. I'm exploring career paths and believe you will be an excellent resource to help me gain firsthand knowledge. I'm looking for opportunities to shadow professionals and conduct informational interviews. So this way you're making yourself open for either the job shadow or the informational interview. That might be dependent on their time, a better choice for them. Would you be willing to let me shadow you or someone at your organization during a typical workday? And then, of course, I understand you are busy and your time is valuable. If you have any questions, you can reach me this way. Thank you for consideration. Again, you can include a little bit more time-sensitive information as well, like every Wednesday I'm free from 12 to 6 or something like that. You don't have to. This is just a quick, casual ask. And you can be gently persistent. Send a follow-up note if you don't get a reply within 2 weeks. But if you don't get a reply to the follow-up, then move on to another request. All right, if you get a job shadow, make the most of the experience. Confirm the details. Make sure you know exactly who you're shadowing and when to arrive. Ask about attire and make sure you're ready. Be prepared to talk about yourself. Why did you choose this company? What's your career direction? What do you see as your strengths? Definitely talk to as many people as you can during the shadow, and don't be afraid to ask for a business card after a good conversation so you might be able to follow up. Take notes. How do people conduct meetings? How do they keep track of details? Make notes of terms and expressions used so that you can really build the language of the industry you're interested in. And do your homework. Visit the company's website and make sure that you have some knowledge about how they describe this person's job responsibilities. Finally, send a thank you note within a day or two of the experience to make sure that you have conveyed your gratitude for their time. We're moving immediately into engaging with professional groups, covering a lot in this presentation. Professional associations and industry groups are a great way to learn about career pathways and to be connected to other opportunities and professionals. All right, so professional associations are typically specific to industries and sometimes very, 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 very specific to industries. Why would you engage with them? Well, there's a lot of possible benefits. I think those are actually on the next page. Networking, great opportunity to network, particularly local chapters of certain professional orgs. They often have career resources and job boards that you can access. They often have a lot of educational content about the industry. For example, the Art Therapy Professional Association has a really fabulous list of all the academic institutions that offer degrees in art therapy. The Museum Alliance has a lot of information about career prep for museum professionals. It varies a lot. There's also professional visibility in being part of an industry group, particularly a very active one. It's a great way to gain new relationships. How to find the right one? There are professional groups for almost every industry, ranging from the Association for Pet Obesity Prevention to the American Association of Candy Technologists. Those are just two examples. Even a basic online search with industry keywords or adding professional association or professional org will help you map out that landscape. You'll want to curate a list of the active professional associations that you're interested in and take a look at each one and see some cater more to executive career level, some cater more to mid-career, and some cater more to a wide swath of professionals. So there are some that are more active, there are some that are more education oriented. It's a wide variety, but you can map those out in the industries you're interested in. So which organizations should you formally join? I would definitely say it's a good idea to just think about what those benefits are. Some have really robust job boards. Some have members lists you can look at their calendars and what programs and events. Do you have to join to have access to anything? What are the membership fees and event costs? Are they reasonable? Are there discounts for students? Do they have a strong presence in your area? All of these should go into your decisions about whether or not you actually formally join, or if you're just aware of them and you visit their websites. So curate a list of the relevant organizations, and once this list is part of your toolkit, you can start to use this list to network or evaluate graduate certifications or even prepare for job interviews. Finally, we're getting to your elevator pitch. So now you have a job shadow, you have a network. When you get there, how do you describe yourself? The elevator pitch is just a short spoken description that captures who you are, where you are in your career, and where you're headed, as well as how you're unique, if we can fit that in there. It needs to be short, smooth, and practiced, clear, and to the point, and it's similar to the brand statement. So basically, you want to have these components. You want to state who you are and what you do. Your audience needs to know who they're talking to. I'm a student at DePaul. I'm a recent graduate at DePaul. I graduated in DePaul 5 years ago. What do you do? If you're still a student, you have a major. If you're currently employed, you have a job. If you're unemployed, what's your field? Think about those things. You also want to share your goal and career direction so that they kind of know where you want to be. So once I graduate, my plan is to try to find a job in this industry or company or whatever, or I'm currently looking to move from my current job to something more blankety blank, or I'm currently looking for the right position in, name a field, type of responsibilities, etc. Present what makes you different or confident, something unique in your background or a particular talent or skill, or how you think your strengths fit the requirements. This could be formatted just simply as, I'm a great fit for this kind of position because, and then make that claim. And then you want to end with a call to action. So you finish your elevator pitch by asking for what you want to happen next. You have just met this person, so make the ask very simple. At the minimum, you can ask if the person knows anyone you should contact. If they seem interested, you might ask for a follow-up action like an informational interview or a job shadow or just a follow-up coffee. So some of the things you want to think about when crafting this elevator pitch: tailor your pitch to the specific industry and space you're using it in. Watch your pace. Don't do it too fast. Relax, smile, make eye contact. Go with the flow. You might get interrupted. You shouldn't push through that. You can bring back to your pitch if you want, but just go with the flow. This is an organic process. And show a little enthusiasm. You don't want to look like a lunatic, but get some emotion and confidence in your delivery. The only way that's going to help is by practicing and practicing and practicing. Deliver your pitch to a friend, come to the Career Center, work with a career advisor, work with a peer coach. You could also record your pitch and play it back and listen to it, and that'll help you kind of hear it. This is the kind of thing we enjoy helping students prepare for as well. This is also something that you would get experience doing if you did informational interviews. Every time you do it, you're going to get better at it. All right, this concludes the presentation on networking. Find over 50 new handouts on a wide variety of career toolkit topics at careercenter.depaul.edu.